الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أن أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم صدق الله العظيم. My respected brothers and elders, Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us with this wealth of Iman, with this wealth of Islam. Alhamdulillah, we praise Allah. In the perfection of our Iman is the perfection of our life, and in the deficiency of our Iman and our Islam, there will be deficiency in our lives. And a person needs to bring his life according to the commandments of Allah. He has to make the standards which Allah has set in Deen, these have to become his standards. When he starts looking at the world with the same standards that Allah has set, then he will bring his life in lines with that life that Allah demands from him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum, that certainly the most honorable amongst you is the one who has the most taqwa, the one who has the most piety, the one who fears Allah the most. Now, the result of fearing Allah is that a person will refrain from disobeying Allah. He will refrain from those actions which take him further from Allah. He will refrain from those feelings, those sentiments in his heart which take him away from Allah. This will be the result of taqwa coming into his life. And amongst the most destructive characters, the most destructive feelings that a person can feel, that he can possess, is this feeling of arrogance. The person says, Ana khayrun min, the words of shaitan. Now understand, shaitan, Satan, was the greatest worshipper. He was the greatest worshipper. For how many years his status had become such that he had gained a level like that, close to that of the angels. But this disease remained in his heart. This disease remained. And it only manifested itself when he was told to make sajda, to prostrate towards the shape of Adam alayhi salam. Only at that time did this disease which was in his heart manifest itself. And he said, Ana khayrun min, I am better than him. Think about that. And because of this arrogance, Shaitan is that being who will make an effort to take people out of paradise. He will go and he will try to mislead them, and he will make such an effort to take them out of paradise. But what is that thing which took Shaitan out of paradise? It was arrogance. This feeling that I am better than him. Why? Why did he feel entitled? Whatever the reason was, it was not valid. It was not acceptable. And the proof is that Allah removed him and he became accursed. He will be accursed and he will remain in the fire for the rest of eternity. So my respected friends, we have to bring our lives onto the commandments of Allah. We have to change our vision, our perception. Our perception must come onto the perception which Allah has set for us. That there is no superiority of a white over a black, of an Arab over a non-Arab, over whatever it might be. There is no superiority. The superiority is in terms of their qualifications, in terms of their taqwa. That is the qualification which Allah demands. Allah demands one qualification. He doesn't ask who has the best car, or who has a PhD from Harvard, or who has the most money in his bank account. Allah does not care about this. What Allah demands is that a person should bring taqwa, a person should bring piety, a person should bring fear of Allah into his life. This person will be the most honored. And what is the result of this arrogance, this feeling of entitlement, that I am entitled, I am better because of something that I have which is not taqwa? And the quality of taqwa is such that a person who has it, he will keep on looking at his own faults. It will never allow him to think that he is the best. It will never allow. Taqwa will never allow a person to think that I am better. He will always keep on looking at the good qualities of others. No matter how much good he himself is doing, he might be doing plenty of good in his life. But he will not look at how much good he does. He will look at the extent of his mistakes, of his shortcomings, of his faults. And then he will feel bad that I should have done and I didn't. I should have done and I didn't. A person will gain knowledge and knowledge and knowledge, and he will look at a person who is just doing the bare basics, doing the bare minimum. And then he will look at this person who's doing the bare minimum, and he says that this person is actually acting upon what he knows. This person is actually making amal, he's acting upon whatever little he might know, but he's actually acting upon it. So his percentage of amal, of actually doing what he's supposed to do, is comparatively high. Whereas I have learned so much, I know so much, but how much is practically in my life? Smaller amount. So a person who has taqwa, he will not look at the faults of others, he will look at his own faults. And he will try to protect himself from the punishment of Allah. So for shaitan, what did arrogance lead to? It led to him being lowered. From one of the highest positions, he was lowered. And it caused his expulsion from paradise. From these these high statuses that he possessed. And he will never get entry into paradise. And the same thing, now it's established in the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We look at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From his younger days, he was given his wife. This was at the time when it was common to have slaves. So a slave was given to him, and it happened to be a young black boy. So the family, their child was taken away. They went searching for their boy, and finally they did find him. They finally did find him. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked that, please, be kind, return him to us. He said, okay, fine, no problem. I will return him to you. I will return him to you. But I will not send him to you forcefully. So if you want, then you can go back to your family, and if you want, you can remain with me. So this young boy who had grown up as a slave, he told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no, I would rather stay with you. Now his father was confused that he would rather choose this type of a lifestyle than to be with us. How can it be? And it's a question, how can it be? Imagine how well he would have treated this young boy who was someone who was taking care, like an employee in his house. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that he freed him, and not only did he free him, but he adopted him as his own, as his adopted son. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not have any, blood sons. They all passed away at a young age. But this particular Sahabi, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam adopted him as his adopted son. And how well he would have treated him, and how he would have taken care of him during the time that he was in the company of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he would rather stay with someone who is, allegedly, who's in a position of being his master, than to go back to his family. One must imagine how he would have treated him, how well he would have treated him, how he would have honored him and taken care of him. This was, today we have one understanding of a slave, you treat them badly. But how did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam treat this person? Now today we don't have this system of slaves anymore. But this behavior What I want to highlight is this behavior of treating people well, regardless of their race, regardless of their background or the color of their skin or so on. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is just to give an idea of how our perception has been warped. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made Bilal radiallahu anhu the muaddin. And Umar radiallahu anhu, he would have loved to attain the status. How many Sahaba would have loved to attain the status of muaddin? Today, it's that, the person who has nothing to do in life, who has no qualifications, we throw him as muaddin, especially in our countries back home. So yeah, you got nothing to do, you have nothing going for you, you can be the muaddin. You can live on people's charity and whatnot. You can give the adhan. But this was a position of honor. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave it to his black companion, who was a slave, but who was freed from his slavery. So people have a question, Islam promotes slavery. No, it was a system that was running, and Islam encouraged freeing the slaves, encouraged it, and this was the practice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was the practice of Sahaba radiallahu anhum, that they would go and any mistake, free a slave, the reward of freeing a slave. So Islam looked to honor the people. It did not look to put them down, it looked to honor them. So that's a little bit of a side point. But the point I'm getting at is how Deen tells us to honor the people of different backgrounds, of different religions, the different races. To take care to honor the people of different races, different skin colors, to include them as your own, because Deen is over and above that. Deen is not restricted only to Arabs or only to Indians, Pakistanis, or only to one ethnic background or another. Islam is about everybody coming together. This was amongst the powerful things which affected Malcolm X in his coming to Islam. That he saw the people in Hajj, different backgrounds, all together, just behaving one and the same. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam honored Bilal radiallahu anhu with the status, with the position of muaddin. And then later on, Zayd radiallahu anhu was actually the adopted son of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Usama bin Zayd radiallahu anhu was his son. And during the time of Hajj, Usama bin Zayd radiallahu anhu was with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then going from Arafah, the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam got a bit delayed. And this is because he was Usama bin Zayd radiallahu anhu, was delayed for some reason. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, consequently he got delayed leaving from Arafah. And the people, they were wondering, why isn't Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam going? Why isn't Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Why isn't he going? And then when they found out that it was because of this little black boy, they got angry that it's because of him. So many seniors, so many elders had to be delayed. So they got angry. They showed that they had this superiority complex in them, that they had this entitlement in them. So it was a group from a certain country. They demonstrated and they expressed this superiority in them and this feeling of entitlement and belittling others. So when after the passing away of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there were certain groups that did leave Islam, or they got they got further, and some did leave Islam. And amongst them was the group from this particular country. And like we see in the story, in the incident of Shaitan, that because of this arrogance which was in him, he was removed, guidance was taken away from him. And likewise, when the people expressed the same type of feeling of arrogance, then this is something which caused them to be, to lose out on this guidance. So my respected friends, my respected brothers and elders, may Allah give us the tawfiq not to bring this arrogance into our lives. And May Allah remove it from us completely. Not that it remains there dormant after we're doing, good for so many years, but it's dormant in our heart, and then it, rears its ugly head just at the wrong time. This is something we have to be searching within ourselves. That how can this arrogance, and in particular in this time of, wherein this talks of racism is going on, that how can this racism come out of us? And there's a lot more to mention on this. How others, they were deprived of a lot of good because of this racism. But inshallah, that will be at a different point. The last point I wanted to touch upon was that these are the, we're in the month of Shawwal, and we've already entered the white days of Shawwal, Ayyamul Bid, 13th, 14th, 15th. These are amongst the Sunnah days for fasting. Monday, Thursday are amongst the Sunnah days for fasting. So there are the 6 days of fasting in Shawwal which have been encouraged in Hadith. The person who fasts for the month of Ramadan and then follows it up with 6 days of fasting in Shawwal, he will get the reward of fasting the entire year. So we should, this is the best time to start. If we haven't started already, then this is a good time to start, to refresh that boost of what was going on in Ramadan. And amongst the goals of fasting is that a person attains taqwa, that he becomes honored in the eyes of Allah. So with our fasting, we should seek to be honoring, to attaining taqwa. And the person who attains taqwa, he becomes the most honored in Allah's eyes. So just as we are cleaning our bodies, there's a detox type thing which occurs in our bodies. So how can we be cleaning our souls as well? How can we take out these diseases of arrogance, feeling ourselves as better and more entitled? Take this out of our heart. Remove this disease of looking down upon others. Look at this person, he's from country X. He's not as good as me. Look at this person, he has skin, this color. He's not as good as me. I'm better than him. These type of diseases have to leave us. This is what Islam teaches us. This reminds me of I don't know if I've mentioned this already, that I had gone to Haiti in Jumu'ah one time. So we had gone to a masjid which was previously, the imam used to be someone from the Nation of Islam. And now he had become a mainstream Muslim, and he heard that there were some guests from Montreal who had come. So there was me, there was 2 Algerian brothers. So me, I'm brown skin. My Algerian brothers, they're lighter skin. And we were sitting in Haiti with our Haitian brothers. And it was a good time. So they had prepared some food for us. Now normally, as is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the more hands in one plate, the more barakah. So we were sitting on the floor, as is customary, as is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have a tablecloth, a ma'idah, sufra that we put on the ground, and we put then we try to sit a couple of people on a plate. So we wash our hands, we sit down, we're eating, and so in our plate, I'm sitting. I have one of the brothers from Algeria, and we had one of the Haitian brothers. So we're sitting, we're eating, and then from this room we hear a sound of shock. Oh, this is Islam. We're like, oh my God, what happened? We were shocked. What happened? What caused this outburst? I said, well, tell us. He said, a black man eating with a white man, eating with a brown man, all from one plate, and none feels superior to the other. And we look and yeah, that's going on, but the thought never crossed our minds, because in our hearts we know that this is our brother. None of us is better or worse than the other. The only connection is taqwa. Whoever has more taqwa is closest to Allah, and that's not something I can see. Rather, when I look at my brothers from Haiti and see how much hardship they have to go through to remain firm on their faith, then I wonder perhaps they're going to be more highly rewarded than anything that I'm doing here, sitting comfortably. So, but yeah, this is shocking to them. But the person who's grown up with this, he says, no, these are our brothers. What's the problem? I mean, yeah, you mention it, you spell it out like that. Yeah, it can be. It is surprising, but for us, it's normal. This is our deen. This is Islam. That the white is not better than the black. Black is not better than the white, except by taqwa. The Persian is not better than the Arab. Arab is not better than the Persian, except by taqwa. Whoever has more taqwa, whoever has more taqwa, more piety, he's closer to Allah. And whoever has less, conversely. So may Allah give us the opportunity to bring taqwa into our lives. Look, this is not about just slogans. This is about our deen. This is about our deen. I mentioned this because this is the time when slogans are going around, but I've been mentioning this before, and I've been trying to demonstrate this with my life and with through our institutions, that there's no question of a person has dark skin or not dark skin, or he speaks English or French, or he speaks Creole, or he speaks whatever. It doesn't matter. Whoever is closest to Allah, this is the main thing. So may Allah clean our hearts. May Allah clean our hearts. May Allah make our hearts wide and open for all of our brothers, all the people from the different, nationalities, different languages, different cultures, and so on. How we come together on this one platform of Islam, and how we try to attain that thing which will bring us more beloved to Allah, which is taqwa. May Allah give me first and all of us this tawfiq. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdihi. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. And inshallah, just also please note that we will be starting some courses on Aqidah, fundamentals of Iman, and on basic seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if anyone would like to join up, inshallah, we'll be putting out information shortly so that brothers can attend these classes, inshallah. Salaam.